For more on this, we are being joined by retired Colonel Rich Outson, Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council and the Jamestown Foundation. He's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Rich, great to see you again, and thank you so much for joining us. This truce and talks of this truce being extended yesterday, President Biden seemed to be backing it as well, saying that this pact with Hamas and Israel is constructed in a way that the truce could be extended. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's great to be with you, Susan. The mechanism for extending it is pretty simple, as long as you have hostages on hand. There's 184 by the Israelis' own counting. So obviously they put a very high value on the lives of those hostages and getting them back, if they're not still alive, at least to get the remains back. And so Israel has been willing to extend for a day at a time this initial deal, which covered, there were initial reports it was 50 Israelis for 150 Palestinians being held in jails in Israel. And then the numbers have been quoted as a little higher, 100 for 300, something like that. But in theory, you can keep extending this for another 15, 20 days if you release 10 hostages on the Hamas side, and the Israelis do 30 or something like that. But in practicality, they're having trouble today with the lists of names. Who is acceptable? Would you separate a family if there's a family that would be numbers 9 and 10, but not 11 and 12? So there is some haggling going on over that. But in theory, this sort of 10 at a time for 30 at a time could go on for a couple of weeks, and the United States would favor that.
Israel's president has also spoken about this new mechanism of governments for Gaza. It could include Israel, the United States, and other countries as well. Is that a realistic vision for Gaza?
Well, it's interesting that it's not too different from what has been proposed for the West Bank. For instance, in the West Bank, you have a split control between, this is under the old Oslo Accords, where you have what are called areas A, B, and C, with the A areas under direct Palestinian security and administrative control, B mixed, where the Israelis control security, but administration and services through the Palestinians, and C more or less under sort of direct Israeli control. I think he has in mind something like that, where you would have a split authority with close international supervision of whichever, if it's the Palestinian Authority that's based in Ramallah or some provisional non-Hamas entity that's doing it. So the precedent exists. But the question is, who are the right international partners? Who's going to be willing to put money and, frankly, troops against these tasks? So it's possible in theory, yes.
Do you think perhaps maybe some kind of UN peacekeeping troop or something like that, where, it's a coalition of international countries, but it's under the umbrella of the United Nations?
I think given the role that the UN has played in Gaza in terms of providing schools and textbooks and food relief, I think it's a natural thing. There is a question of trust. Israel's experience with UN peacekeeping forces during previous wars and operations, for instance, UNIFIL along the Lebanese border, has not been pristine. And I think they would probably welcome the UN taking charge of the sort of political and administrative side of this. But there's going to have to be a coalition of the willing, if you will, on the security side. Some set of interlocutors that are acceptable both to the Palestinians and the Israelis as security partners. I don't think the UN can do that piece.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, thank you so much for that perspective, Rich, and it's always great talking to you.
Great to see you as well. Thank you.